Okay, another counting technique is the use of permutations. So Emily takes her 4 kids to get their picture taken. So for one of the pictures, the photographer has the kids sit on a wooden bench. And the question is, how many different ways can the 4 kids be seated for the picture? Well, to demonstrate this, we're going to pretend that Emily lacks an imagination, and her kids' names are A, B, C, and D. So the photographer is seating them on the bench here, okay? And you notice I have multiplication in between here. So with the permutations, it's also, we can think about using a form of the basic counting rule as well. You have initially, you're looking at the kids, okay, and you're saying, well, hey, A, you sit down, okay? So A sits down. We originally had 4 choices, and A is seated. Well, how many choices do we have now? Well, we only have 3, okay? And then they're saying, D, you sit down, okay? So that means we had 3 choices there, and now we only have 2 left over. Okay, then we'll tell C that they have to sit down. We're very authoritative parents, it sounds like. And then we have 1 choice left over. So hopefully you understand how that would go. Now that right here is just one of the ways, right? So how many possible ways can these kids be seated for the picture? Well, multiply across and we get 24. So we're going to talk about factorial, and this is a special permutation because we're going to utilize all of the elements there. So in the question above, we needed to calculate the number of items we had, and then 1 less, and then 2 less, all the way down to just 1 left. When we need to calculate the product of all counting numbers from n down to 1, we call the calculation factorial, and so we denote it in factorial. So if you get the calculator that I suggested, this particular button is going to be more on the upper right. So with the TI-36X Pro, you have a key that you push 3 times, and the first time you push it, it's going to give you that factorial. Okay? Now there's other calculators that will get you this factorial. If you can't find it, remember the calculator companies want you to love your calculator. So just Google how to find factorial on your particular calculator that you purchased, and I'm sure you can get that information. If not, let me know. We'll figure it out together. Okay, example 19a. How many ways are there to list the names of the 5 dinner specials at a restaurant? So you have to think, does order matter? Well, really, I don't care what order those are listed in, but once a person starts writing a name down, then that special is there, number 1 on that list, and so on. So if that's the case, we have 5 specials. You write choices, you write one of those down, and then now you have 4. Now you have 2 of them written down. 3, 2, 1. Now we'll talk more about the order mattering or not later on when we talk about combinations. Okay, how many ways are there for 8 runners to place in a race, assuming there are no ties? Okay, do people care about how they finish in a race? Absolutely. So how many choices, nobody's crossed the finish line yet, how many choices of runners could possibly cross that finish line first? Well, we have 8 of them. And then how about for the second place? Then 7 and 6, all the way down to that person who finished last. Okay, and then we multiply those across, and it gives you 40,320. Now I want to remind you that instead of typing all of this out, you can type 5 factorial in your calculator. Same thing with B, 8 factorial. So you need the factorial, or you can use the factorial on your calculator if you're using, again, all the items.